Hey, going live. All right, I'm going to just introduce you real quick and then do your thing. I think there we are. We are live. Yay. And yes, we're a little bit late. Sorry. Life has been lifing all day today. So sorry. But we are back with this pop-up summit, pop-up drop number 5. And this one, we're starting to get really practical here. So up to this point, we've been, kind of talking about fear and vision and all that stuff. And now the question becomes, what do we actually do with all of that? Because having a story is one thing, but knowing how to use it, that's something else entirely. And so I'm really excited about this session today. Joining us is Joie Gharrity, and she's going to be talking about your story is a revenue stream. And I know this is something a lot of people are curious about, but don't always know where to start. So before we bring her on, quick reminder, if you're joining us live, say hello in the comments, let us know you're here. And if you're catching the replay, just drop a replay so we know you were here also. All right, Joie, I am so excited to have you give this session.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. One of my favorite topics is about story and turning it into revenue. There was a time in my life that I literally, and I know a lot of people are going to relate to this, that I literally didn't think anyone was going to care about my stories or my journey. I'm like, why? Right. But my meditation slash, she's also one of the top speakers in the Bay Area, teacher was like, of course, people are going to want to hear your story. And so that kickstarted my journey. Keynoting, sharing your story in keynotes, emotionally connecting with your storytelling um, is an incredible revenue generator because what you're doing is not only you're emotionally connecting with everyone in the room, but you're making yourself approachable. And that approachability turns into clients, let's say your coach, or selling your products, for instance. It's a great way. And it also, I'll tell you, I train people how to become master keynoters. I'm an international keynoter myself. And becoming an international keynoter changed my life. It changed my business, and it elevated it in a very big way. But also too, what it does when you're sharing your story is it also very healing. So I always encourage my clients and my speaking trainings to share their authentic journey, something that people in the room can say, "Hey, she's relatable," or "He's relatable," and and something where people can hook into so that they know that they're not alone on this journey out there. So the first keynote that I shared and that propelled me onto the stages where I was selling my services and my products is I was sharing about my brother's passing and how that catapulted me um, into a completely new arena, one that I never saw for myself. But the reason I wanted to do it is because I wanted, one, for people to know that they're not alone, and two, that I'm approachable and that my life is not picture perfect because there's no such thing, and that also too that I'm very empathetic. People want to work with people where they can tell them their secrets, right? They don't want to feel like uncomfortable with that individual, particularly if you're in the coaching consulting world, which is what I'm in. And so I've been sharing that story, and weirdly enough, I was invited to an elite speaking group recently. I hadn't shared that story, I would say, in a couple years. And that story was the one story I chose. And interesting enough, I thought that I had completely healed from that tragedy. My brother he died in a tragic car accident. And it was very highly publicized because his girlfriend at the time was a famous reality star, and he was working on a high profile movie. So it was splashed all over the news, newspapers, you name it. MTV at the time was the channel to go to. Um, they were reenacting it, and so it was very, it was a very, very tough time for me, and then it made it even tougher because of how public it was, right? But I was able to take that story and share it with people out there, and I'm gonna share it again on a stage here in San Francisco. And I want to share it because, again, I want people to know that I'm approachable. So I want you to be thinking about what story you're sharing out there because one, you want to be approachable, you want to be approachable, you want people to know that your life isn't picture perfect, right? Because then you're unattainable, right? And that doesn't help revenue streams, right? So that's one revenue stream where you can share your story on stages and then you want to sell, right, your products and services, and you also want to create an emotional connection with the entire audience out there because I promise you it's a percentage game, and at least 10% of the people in that room, right, depending on the room, right, but, um, could be working with you. They tend to work with you, right? They work with me. The second way that you can share your story as a revenue stream, and I wanna talk about this because I think there's some misconceptions out there, right? Is so I took my stories and I turned them into books. The first one's called The Red Carpet Guide to Visibility and Influence, right? And this doubles as a guidebook. It's also it's my signature marketing, inner game, and marketing strategies and I share them with the marketplace. And then my second book, Being Your Own Superstar: How to Expand Your Love Capacity, is also doubles as a guidebook, right? Guidebooks are great, guys, because people know that they're going to get a lot of value, right? So it doubles as a guidebook. So this is a revenue generator. However, you're not going to get rich off of books unless you're famous. Famous people get rich off of books. Of course, they've got that kind of influence. But what they double as is they double as amazing business cards. So I just like for instance, I just had a one-on-one with a top realtor in the area in the Bay Area, and I immediately gifted him my card. Right? Did you know that it's almost 100% success rate that no one will throw out a book? So even let's just say they're not gonna throw out your book, but you gift them, right? You buy them wholesale, right? It's like not that expensive at all on Amazon. Um, you buy them wholesale as an author, but you gift them, and if and it's almost 100%. They're not gonna throw it out, but now the book is on their coffee table or on their nightstand or on the bookshelf, right? I also highly suggest that you put your face on your book, a cover, okay? Because it's great for face recognition, right? When you walk into a room, you want people to know, like, and trust you already through face recognition. This is why I love social media, right? I'm gonna talk about my third strategy here in a minute about revenue generating. But this is a business card, right? And my books have gotten me on countless stages. This has really propelled me onto more stages because it sets you up as an expert. And here's the thing, guys, I give my books away. I would rather, right, 50 people walk out with my book, right, knowing that they're not going to throw away. They might gift it. They even if it ends up at a secondhand store, God bless it, right? Right? Because you never know who's going to pick up your book. And here's something else too that I do. With my second book, anytime I travel, right? I literally leave it inside of the flap at the in my the my airplane chair. You know how they have that? I leave it there, right? And I put a note inside and I say, whoever's discovered this or whoever I've gifted this to, right? I gift it to you with gratitude, right? Because I want to spread the word, right? And so way to generate influence with revenue, right? I've given you two examples. Take your story and become a keynoter, right? People think that everyone's a keynoter. That's not true. Maybe you're just running with a lot of keynoters, but that's not true. Not everyone's a keynoter, right? But go ahead and do that and then sell your products and services up there. But first, by sharing your story, you're emotionally connecting, right? That's how people know, like, and trust you. Second, right? Take your stories and throw it into a book. And it doesn't have to be a hard copy, do it in an ebook, right? My third book's going to be an ebook. Um, but I always tell people, if you're a first time author, get the hard copy. It's so exciting to touch your story, right? But you want to emotionally connect, right? And I'm also going to suggest that if your arena, your expertise lends itself, double it as a guidebook. It gives it more weight that people know that they're going to learn from it and that you're guiding them through it. Okay. Um, the third way by sharing your story and it creates revenue is I blog every single week, same day, right? Because you wanna train the marketplace, right? And I blog about my story, my ups and my downs, my journey, right? Why am I doing that? It's great, right? And I always add, guys, my headshot. So add an image of yourself, use the same image. It's a billboard, right? Think about it like this. How many times have you seen the same movie poster? Let's just say it's Mission Impossible, right? And you see it over and over and over again, right? You don't sit there and go, "Oh, there's Mission Impossible again." No. What they're doing is they're creating a billboard impact on you so that you recognize it and it's emotionally connecting with you. That's the same thing with the blog, for instance. So I always say use your same headshot. Make sure you blog the same day every week, the same time, even better, right? Be consistent, right? And what you're doing is by emotionally connecting with the marketplace, right? Your ups and your downs and your journeys is you're letting them in. Again, it makes you approachable, right? I believe that because of that type, because I'm willing to share, and you don't have to share. I tell people all the time, I say, listen, you don't have to share about your kids or share about the divorce you're going through unless you want to. Maybe you're a divorce coach. Maybe you're a consultant or coach out there that helps people get through hard times, right? But what I'm saying is, right, is that you wanna be approachable, right? And approachable means that you're not picture perfect, right? And so let people in, right? Let them know that they're not alone, right? And what you do is by creating that emotional connection, right? With my blogs, for instance, right? And I repurpose them, and that's actually how I created 2 books, is I blog every week. So it helps me to create content. So I take all the blogs and then I take the blog components, but I change it into storytelling, and then I change it into chapter headers. Um, but it also is a great way for you to create revenue because you add a link, a call to action, or a QR code to your headshot. I love the QR code to your headshot, right? And you drive them back to your website where you're selling your products and your services, right? And this is all through storytelling. I know it might seem like 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 a little maybe a little simple, but it's very powerful, these techniques and these tools, these strategies, right? Because you're making yourself um, human. You're making yourself relatable, right? You're also making yourself what's the key word I keep using here? Approachable. And approachable is how people feel the know, like, and trust to buy your products and services that are revenue generators, right? So become a keynoter. Not everyone's a keynoter. And by the way, it's such a game changer to move an audience out there. But start by sharing your story always, move into your tangibles, which is your expertise of what people can walk away with. And of course, include examples of how people can work with you or purchase your products and services. Two, right? Take your stories and roll them into books. Rolling them into books, right? Again, I suggest you put your face on for face recognition and double it as a guidebook, but if it works for you, right? Roll it in a book. knowing that this is going to be a business card. This is a way where you are creating a deeper emotional relationship with potential clients out there and customers out there, right? And then the third way is to pick the same day and same time and roll out a blog by sharing your stories. Create a QR code or at least a call to action link that drives them back to your website because websites aren't dead. Back to your website and where your products and services are. What something I want to no smoke and mirrors here. This takes a minute, okay? Nothing. There's no such thing as overnight success. I have a BFF. He's one of the co-founders of a business network that I run here in San Francisco. And he says that he's a 25-year overnight success. And that makes me giggle all the time because it's so true, right? But it is, but by building these blocks, these stones that you're stepping on, they do create an influence for you out there. Your visibility will grow, and your visibility plus influence equals your earning power, right? So take the time. Take the time to do it. And plus, it's incredible to become an author. It's incredible to become a speaker. It's to me, it's such a joy to share my story with others and then have people walk up to me and say, "Oh, I so related with that," or comment about their own story or get that conversation going, right? Because it's about building community first, always, right? It's about us elevating, and as you elevate others around you. And that's the truth. You elevate everyone around you. So I appreciate the time, and I always appreciate our hostess with the mostest. She does share the best summits out there, and she's an incredible marketer. Incredible. Right, sister? You are.
Incredible's the word.
Yeah, you are. You're an incredible marketer. I loved your marketing campaign for this with the credit card. I thought that was so, like, brilliant. I'm like, "Yeah, no, you are." Yeah, you really inspire me. You're really great, really great. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you and all of your knowledge about turn because this is your thing. This is your wheelhouse here, turning our stories into all of this stuff. I know you've
Yeah,
helped me immensely, so I'm
yeah.
sure, hoping everybody else will capitalize on what they're learning from you. And they're all in the group, so hopefully, if they're struggling, they will connect with you and reach out to you. Find her in the group, ladies, because, like I said, she has done wonders for me in my storytelling. I was kind of like her. Nobody wants to hear my story.
Oh, I know. I truly believe that. Yeah. And you know what was so interesting too, sister, is there was never one moment in my entire life that I ever thought I'd become an author. Not one. Never even crossed my mind. And then I had a publisher, right, reach out to me because she had seen me keynote, right, and had been watching me on social media with my blog posts. And she's like, I want to publish you. And now I'm a two-time author, right? And so, again, being vulnerable and sharing my story, particularly around my brother's passing, um, that I mean, every time I share it, like I just shared it the other day again, it just shakes me to my core again. But I know the importance behind, right, showing up, right, and just being courageous. Just be courageous, guys, right? Because what's waiting for you out there, you can't. I never dreamt for myself. I never dreamt I was going to become an international speaker, not 1 minute in my life. I never dreamt I was going to become an author, not 1 minute. I never dreamt that I would have this kind of influence, right? Because I always worked for influential studios that were handing me all this influence, right? And that's what they do, right? They hand you all this influence, but then when you leave, right, you leave with nothing, no influence, right? Because they're handing it to you. And now I look at this journey and I'm so grateful that people have supported and encouraged me along the journey, the publisher and the keynoter and, you know, all these, just this endless list of people, because it's changed my life in the best of ways. So I wish the same for everyone out there.
Yeah, and you never know because kind of like you, I always dreamed of writing the great American novel. You know,
Yeah.
doesn't everybody? But it wasn't happening. And then I was at a conference and I ran into he was a big time online marketer back in the day. Probably I don't know if anybody's ever heard of him now, but this was like because this was like 25, 30 years ago. Um, but he was asking me what I was struggling with, and I told him, and he's like, "What do you know?" Well, at that time, about the only thing I knew in the marketing world was network marketing because that's what I was doing, and I was doing okay with it. And he's like, "Well, write that book." And I'm like, do you know how many network marketing books there are out there? I mean, there are literally thousands of them. And he's like, "Yes, this is true, but none of them have your story in them. None of them have you. They are not your book. Go tell your network marketing journey." And I was like, "Oh my goodness. Does
Yeah.
anybody really want to read that?" Well, turns out they did. Okay. Turns out they did.
Yeah. That's how we met, is because
And
you
it,
dropped that book on social and I saw it. And so I bought it, I read it, and then I reached out to you. I was like, this book's incredible. Yeah.
I told the truth about network marketing.
You did.
Okay.
You told the truth. There's no doubt. You totally told the truth, but you also helped me to understand the arena better because I didn't really get it. And then I was like, "Oh, okay, I understand how it works, right?" So no, I mean, that's what I'm saying. These are the thing that I feel gets in people's way is everyone wants everything now to happen right this second, right? And what I want people to understand is to build the type of influence, right? To build that, it takes a minute, right? But but it's worth it because someone that might have heard of you or seen a glimpse of you a couple years ago might all of a sudden drop into your pathway and journey and buy your products and services because they've been reading your blogs because they know it's dropping every Tuesday at 8 a.m., right? And they've been reading it. And then one blog, it just like that story just totally impacts them. They can relate to it. They feel like they know you, you know them. And that's the trigger point, right? That's the tipping point,
That's
right?
all it takes.
Yeah.
That's all it
It's
takes.
the belief system.
So if you're struggling, reach out to Joey. Because like I said, she helped me not be afraid to tell my story. And it
Yeah.
it made all the difference in the world. Because I too am now an international speaker, and I think I can safely say I pretty much owe it to Joey. Okay, owe it all to her. Wouldn't have even thought about it if it hadn't been for that.
It's awesome.
So
Congrats. I'm
so
happy for you, sister. I'm happy for you and I'm happy for the audience
so
because your shares, I mean, I know your brand, I know your story. Your shares are so important, right? Because you're giving them permission to choose their own paths, right? And sometimes we need to see someone say it for us to connect the dots and to have the courage to do it, right? That's the truth, right? Yeah.
yeah, and that's all it took. Watching you share your story because you have shared it in several of the things I've been at. I've watched you, and it's like, well, if she can get up there and talk about this, so can I. I can go share mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I know pretty much everybody in this group has a story.
Oh, yeah. An
Every
important one. An important one.
And there
Yes.
are people out there waiting to hear it. So let's
Yes.
go. Let's share the story and then let's make some money from it. Okay,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. That was the other thing I struggled with. It's like I don't want to charge for this. No, there's nothing wrong with making a little money from your story.
Yeah, no, no, you should make money off of your story because it's courage. It takes courage to share it, right? And take it all and repurpose it, right? For my books, I repurposed it into blogs, articles, memes, quotes, like, you know? And then I launched my own YouTube channel, right? I wouldn't have launched my own YouTube channel if I hadn't taken these other steps, right? But because I had the books, right, and I'm a keynoter, right, there was a big event every year, and they asked me to come speak on their stage. Well, there was YouTubers there, right? And then they befriended me, right? And then I started hearing how they became YouTubers, and then I launched my own YouTube channel. I wouldn't have done that, right? And so now I have that, right? So it is a matter of layering everything on each other with the knowing that by sharing your story first and then putting it into components, right? That you are generating revenue because people are going to buy your packages, buy you as a consultant, put you on other stages, put you in front of other opportunities, right? And so that's where the generating of the revenue comes through. And with time, you'll charge more money, right? Because, this isn't my first rodeo. So what I was charging when I started, it looks very different than what I charge now. But I have a lot to back it up with, you know?
And book his calling card is like she said, she reached out to me because of the book. Well, if it weren't for her, I would never have gotten on YouTube. I would never have started the podcast. I think I can trace the podcast and the YouTube channel directly back to Joey's influence because it would never have happened. I tried. It crossed my mind. I tried and I threw in the towel and said, "This is too hard. I can't do this." And then Joey sat down with me and said, "No, it's not. Let me show you just how simple this is." And, and we did it in like one evening. One evening, poof, it was done.
Yeah,
First episode.
yeah.
So,
Everyone
yeah.
elevates. When you elevate everyone around you, right? And so when you're like, "Oh, yeah," I'm like, "Oh, yeah, no problem." I said, "You should use Be Live and blah, blah, blah." And you're so fast, right? I showed you, and then boom, now you have a podcast and you're doing summits. And that's what I'm saying. It starts snowballing, right? So I do encourage everyone out there, share your story. Because I'm telling you, I have had people walk up to me, no idea who they are, no idea, literally walk up to me at an event, right, and would say things like, "You've literally changed my life. Like, you made such an impact on me. I saw you keynote with that story. I've read your books. I watch you on social media, and dot, 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 dot," right? And listen, you're not going to get that a lot. We don't know how many people until you pass, you don't know how many people you've impacted, right? So do it because you want to, because you want to be of service first. Always lead with service, right? But I'm telling you, your heart will light up when someone says your story literally impacted my life and it changed it. And I'm like, blessings to that. Blessings to that. Yeah. Yeah.
So, Joey, as always, you're a wealth of information, and we just love it every time you come and do it, especially when there's just so many women out there that need to hear that their story matters. I mean, you hear it all the time, your story matters, but it's true. It's
It's
absolutely true. So every time somebody says it other than me, it really helps them because they know I have to say it. I'm the one here that's going, come on, come on, come on. I kind of have to say it, but to hear somebody else say it, your story matters, ladies. Let's do this thing. Share
yes.
the story. Joey, thank you so much. We
Thank
appreciate you.
you. Appreciate you. Thank you for having me.